very approachable, easy recipes. I know I've made a lot of them at home, and every time we've had a public chef here, it's one of those really maximum flavor with minimum,
Work.
yes, yes. I didn't want, yeah, minimum effort.
You can
let's
say it. But a lot of people are more familiar with Simple Meals. And Simple Meals is the kiosk down in the store where they're cooking quick, easy meals, and they're handing out samples. And if you want to purchase all the ingredients, they're right next to the chef in a case. And you could do one-stop shopping, grab all the ingredients, and cook for a family of 4 or 5 in less than 40 minutes for under $25. So it's very convenient. What we do is more from scratch cooking. Okay?
Perfect.
So first thing we're going to do, we have chorizo sausage. This is an Argentinian chorizo. So you can get it mild or you can get it spicy. But even the mild sausage has a touch of heat to it, but it's packed with flavor. Some of them might have fennel, may have coriander, may have different like whole seeds in it as well, but they're very well seasoned. So you really don't have to do much to it, okay? So the first thing we're going to do with the chorizo, we'll just take some peeled garlic and we're going to smash it down and just mince it up pretty small. You could do this in a food processor if you were doing it outside. If you were going to, have a barbecue or something like that, you could do it in a food processor, which would be pretty convenient. So we're going to take this, we'll put it on our chorizo, and for when you're cooking, a big misconception is that extra virgin olive oil is accepted over high heat. That is the furthest from the truth. Extra virgin olive oil, you could see the color difference. One of them is a lot lighter, one of them is a lot darker. The extra virgin oil burns at 325 degrees, okay? My grill right now is probably about 450. So if I put that on the grill, it's going to stick, it's going to burn, and it's going to turn bitter, all right? If you've ever cooked in a saute pan with extra virgin olive oil, if it gets too high in heat, you get that brown, sticky ring around the outer edge of the pan because there's so much sugar still in the olive oil, right? So, what's that?
Yes, and you've ruined the oil.
And you ruin the oil. It just turns bitter and it starts to smoke. So you want to use pure Italian olive oil. It's a little bit lighter in color. Sometimes they'll put a little canola or vegetable in it to bring it up a little bit higher. It's called a smoke point. So the regular olive oil will go up to about about 400 degrees. Okay, grapeseed oil can go up even higher to about 4.25. So those are high temperature cooking oils. Extra virgin is more of a finishing oil. You drizzle it on top, you make a pot of soup or marinara sauce, you pour it in off the heat, stir it in, and you'll taste it. It's more for flavor, okay? So we're going to take a little bit of the oil, put it on the sausage. Pepper flakes, they're optional depending on what kind of sausage you're using. So we'll put this on there. And then throw it in a Ziploc, or I lost my tongs. There they are, thank you. All right. You get an extra sausage. All right. So you put it in a Ziploc, throw it in the fridge. You could do it the day before. It's just going to put some flavor on the outside of the sausage. And when you put it on the grill, that oil will soften up again and drip into the fire. And then you'll get flavor. It'll actually char the outside of the sausage a little bit. This recipe calls to cook the sausage 2 times, all right? So we're going to take this and pop it right on our grill over here, which maybe isn't 400 degrees, but let's all go right now just to hear the sizzle. So we're going to let that cook a little bit, right? And now we're going to go into making our chimichurri. Have you ever had a chimichurri sauce before? It's an excellent sauce. Again, it's something that has a Latin background. It's actually an Argentinian sauce that's created by using parsley, cilantro, oregano. Some people like this recipe. I like to put a touch of Dijon mustard in there, and olive oil, a little bit of vinegar. So that's what we're going to do now. So right now, right here, I have some fresh oregano. It's great to use fresh ingredients, especially for a recipe like this. You cannot get away with using dry in something like this. So we're going to put this in our food processor.
I've
Then-
heard chimichurri called the ketchup of Argentina.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much served with everything and on everything.
Yeah, you put it on your Cheerios. You can put it on cheesecake. It's really good. So we have some parsley here, and you can see by looking at the parsley, a lot of people don't know, the difference when they're looking at it. So if you look at a parsley leaf, it's very pointy and it's very dark green. You look at cilantro, it has more of a rounded edge to it, and it's a lot lighter in color. And then you could smell it, and it'll have that little bit of citrus notes to it. Does anyone here not like cilantro? Tastes like soap, right? But there are a lot of people that say that, and their families for years probably thought they were crazy. But it's actually an enzyme in your system that rejects the flavor of cilantro and will actually make it taste like soap, okay? So we're going to take this. We'll take a fork. This is the easiest way to clean up like leafy greens like this. And if I just pull back on the fork, you can see I have only the leaves and all the stems are left behind. The same thing with the cilantro. We'll get in there and just clean that up nicely like that. And there's really no need to chop this very fine because we're going to put this in the food processor. So all this goes right in here. Take some garlic. You judge how much you want to use. You could do a lot, you could do a little, but don't leave it out. It needs to be in there. So we'll just give a quick smash to the garlic.
Give it a head start.
Yep. Alan, who's a chef that I work with, he's actually backstage now. He says that these are my Altoids. So I'm Italian, I like garlic, I'll admit it, but my Altoids right there. Right, so now we're going to take some Dijon mustard. We'll just put a touch of that in there. You don't have to do a lot on the Dijon. Cumin. Cumin is a very distinct flavor, and it's very important in this dish as well. Let's see what our sausage is doing over here. Oh, yeah, we got some really nice grill marks on there, right?
I'm thinking it might be hotter maybe up here.
Is it?
This stove is a little finicky with depending on what you put on it and where the heat is. It's, it's a little bit of a...
Well, this type of grill pan isn't flush on the bottom. It's actually raised up. So it's not direct contact with the elements that would heat it. So you're taking the heat that's radiating off of it, so it takes a lot longer to heat up. But at home, the best thing would be to do it on an open flame, okay? So we're going to put some red wine vinegar in here, and this will give it some acidity and some sourness, okay? And that's what we need. We want to balance it, and I'll show you how to develop flavors so you taste it over your entire palate. You don't want part of your tongue to be bland. You want to taste it everywhere, okay? So we'll take our cumin, put some cumin in there, a little bit more on the red pepper flakes, okay? You can tell I like some heat, all right? Salt and pepper, very important. Don't be cheap on the salt and pepper. A lot of people, they see us season our food when we do a class, and they cringe, and then they taste it, and they say it needs more salt. So if I'm cooking a pot of food to feed 10 people, right, and I put in this much salt, I don't know if you could see that on the board, but if I put in that much salt, right, divide that into 10, or 15, and that's how much you're actually getting in your portion. So don't be afraid to use salt. A pinch is not that, okay? And that's what most people think. A pinch, 3 fingers, like that, all right? It's usually anywhere from an eighth to a half or a quarter of a teaspoon, all right? So not just a little dash.
And do you
like
prefer
that.
kosher salt?
Kosher salt, yes, because kosher salt, you can actually grab it. You can pick it up. If you use something like Morton's, you pick it up, by the time you get here, it's gone. It's so fine. So you want something that you can pick up with 3 fingers, all right?
The question
Okay,
is, why not a
that's-
specialty sort of fancy salt?
That's a good question because all those different salts come from different seas. And all those different seas have different flavors. So if you're using a Hawaiian sea salt, it's going to have a smoky flavor to it because there's so much volcanic action in those waters or around that area. Himalayan sea salt, I don't know what they put in the water, but it's really salty and it could be a little sour. But kosher salt, red diamond, diamond crystal, I would say is probably your safest bet. In restaurant, that is the staple for salt. So you can count on it. Every time you use it, it's going to be the same. Excuse me. All right, where was I? So we have all our greens in here, cumin, garlic, pepper flakes, a little bit of salt. We'll put in a dash of black pepper, just like that. We have our vinegar, and we're just going to put in a little bit of the olive oil. This is extra virgin, but I'm going to raise the heat with a little bit of pure Italian olive oil. So that's going to bring the smoke point of that first oil up a little bit, all right? So now we'll just puree that. You can leave it chunky if you want to. I wouldn't make it like pesto. I wouldn't make it smooth. I would leave it so the leaves, you can bite into it and kind of taste the different flavors going on in there.
And in place of the pure olive oil, could we use something like a canola or vegetable oil, or do you really prefer that pure oil?
You can use it, but it's flavorless. And these ingredients, everything going in here is there to create another flavor. Okay, so if you want to taste it, exactly. If you used grapeseed, which is a healthy oil, it's completely flavorless. So it's more of a cooking oil than anything. Okay, unless you're making a vinaigrette where you don't want to taste the oil, then you would use something else. But try to keep it like a natural oil, something healthy. At home, I use a lot of coconut oil and avocado oil because it's a healthy oil. Okay, so in here we have all our ingredients. We're going to turn it on. We'll pulse it a few times while adding some more oil, because this is kind of like a vinaigrette that we're making here. Then we're going to add a little bit of lime juice. So right now, I'll tell you what each ingredient is doing in here. So the greens are flavor. They have their own flavor, right? We add the vinegar. We're going to taste it over here somewhere, right in the back of our tongue. But the rest of my tongue is going to be kind of bland. So when I add the lime juice, this is sour. I'm going to taste it more on the upper sides of my tongue, where the vinegar is going to do close to the back, towards my throat. Then, after I taste it, I mix it around, the tip of my tongue is going to be really bland. So I'll add a little bit of heat, cayenne, pepper flakes, whatever it is, and then all of a sudden, the tip of your tongue will just burst with flavor. All right, so that's what you need to do. You need to know what each ingredient does on your palate. Even if it doesn't call for it, add it. I put cayenne in everything. Back at work, they call me Cayenne because I put cayenne in everything, all right? But not to taste it, to balance it, okay? So one more pulse. All right, we're good. So now I'm going to take a little bit of this chimi, and we're going to put some on our tomatoes. I think the servers are telling me I'm taking too long.
No, not at all, not at all.
All right, so we put some on our tomatoes. Over here, I just took a regular sweet potato and boiled it until it was fork tender. Thanks, Chef. I just boiled it till it was fork tender. You don't want mashed potatoes because you're going to be handling this on a barbecue grill. All right? So, we took the sweet potato now, and we're going to quarter that, or cut it into 6 if they're really big. All right? Then this is also going to get tossed in there with the chimichurri, right? So we have everything coated in this flavor. Then you want to add salt, more salt, because tomatoes are 98% water, and they're just going to dilute it. So add some salt to it, some pepper as well. We'll mix that up.
So this is almost like a marinade and a finishing sauce.
And a finishing sauce as well, yeah. And when this hits the grill, all those flavors are going to start to caramelize on there, okay? So we put our sweet potatoes on the grill. Just going to mark them, soften them up a little bit more. If you're doing this inside, you could buy a grill pan. And the tomatoes, you can actually put on a pan and throw them under your broiler. and they'll blister just like that. But I'm going to put them on here since I have it. There we go. You hear that sound? That's a beautiful sound right there. And then, once the chorizo is completely cooked, what we did was we cut it lengthwise, like this. And then we put more chimichurri on it. So I'm just going to grab a brush here. You could throw it in a bowl as well, but right now, this is very convenient. So I'll just brush some chimichurri on there. That's going to go on the grill. We have the other half as well. That's going to go on the grill. And if this is over an open flame now, all of that fat and flavor that's in the sausage is dripping into the fire and steaming back up on it and putting an incredible char on the outside, just where the grates are. And that's going to give it texture. It'll give it a little bit of a crunch at the same time, okay? So when we are plating this, here we go.
It smells fantastic too when those herbs and the garlic hit the grill. It's just like an explosion.
That's just the citronella candle. I have the garlic candle under the counter over here.
Oh, a garlic candle. I kind of like that idea. You know, fake takeout by burning your garlic candle.
Right? So look, we have our chimichurri. So one more thing that I didn't go over is the roasted red pepper. So we have red pepper, a red bell pepper. You could do this with poblanos, which are the big green ones that have a little bit of heat to them. But we're going to do it with the red bell pepper. Take the pepper, if you have a gas stove at home, sit it right on the burner. Let it burn on all sides. You see that? You want it to be charred, completely burnt. Then you put it in a bowl, cover it with plastic wrap. The heat inside the bowl will allow you to just do this and take all that skin right off, okay? So you have a perfect roasted pepper here with that charred flavor on it, and the skin comes off so easily. Then just seed it, put a little bit of, dice it up, and put that in your chimichurri now for the dressing that you're going to put on top, okay?
Now, we might be tempted to peel that pepper under running water, but that's probably something we don't
No,
want
I
to do.
wouldn't want to do that because then you're washing off all the flavor that you just created on that pepper. You can let it cool till it's ice cold and then just peel it. Put it in your fridge, okay? So now we're just going to plate this up. So just like you see in front of you, we're going to take our chorizo. We'll just lay this out on a plate. Put some of those sweet potatoes there. I think we hurt somebody. Is he leaving for a reason? Did I say something wrong? No.
Oh, he's got somewhere. He's a very busy guest today. He's got another seminar to attend.
All right. So then what I like to do is I'll take these blistered tomatoes and put them in with the arugula, which has some bitterness to it. So that's another layer of flavor. And then we'll take some of the chimichurri. We'll toss that all together and just kind of sprinkle it over the top. So if you look in that calendar in front of you, there's actually a picture of this. When we create our recipes for the cooking school, we send them to Lakeland, they look them over, and when they get approved, all 9 or 10 schools run them. And then they photograph them in our test kitchen and they put them on our calendar. So you'll see a picture of this. This dish is actually part of a class that I created called Big Bad Bold Reds. Okay, so it's going to be all bold red wines. And this and the picture of the chocolate cake in there too are both part of the menu that you'll be having, along with 5 different wines to go with it. So you can see we have everything on this plate. I just put a little bit more of the chimichurri on top, and then take some extra virgin olive oil and just do a quick drizzle just like that so you can taste it. Again, salt, or pepper I should say, a little bit of salt. For me, a little more hot pepper flakes, and you're good to go.
Beautiful. Wow, round of applause. That looks fantastic.
Thank you.